Hi there folks, it's me, Alex from the Southern Ukulele Store, and I'm back once again this week to introduce a new brand to you all. A brand that up until about 8 weeks ago I had not heard of myself, and a brand that I was kicking myself I had not brought to the UK first. This ukulele brand I first saw, my friend Matt at World of Uke shared a video and some listings of some instruments and sent me a message saying, Alex, I think you're going to really like these. These are really special ukuleles for the price. And I watched his video, and just as you, the viewer, hope I do at home, I got really excited. I watched someone else's video on a ukulele and I purchased an instrument, and it was a fantastic experience. The ukulele I've got is an SP-240W that's in the list that we're going to look at today. And after about a month of ownership, I can say honestly it's up there with the best concert ukuleles I've ever owned, whilst being one of the cheaper concert ukuleles that I've owned. So you're never going to get more gushing praise for a brand before I even say the name than this. The ukulele brand is Millar. Great name. I can get well behind the Millar brand of ukuleles. It's a strong name for a strong uke. And we've got 7 to look at here today, various different wood combinations in concert and tenor size. We're going to start here with this mahogany beauty. Let's begin. Okay folks, the first ukulele we're going to look at today is the Millar TM-240G, which is an all-solid mahogany concert ukulele. The first thing I want to point out about Millar is the price point. So this ukulele is at the beginner's end of pricing. This is around $399 in the UK as we head towards the end of 2020. So at $399, there's quite a lot of competition from the likes of Snail, Flight, Pono, Kala, Ohana, you name it. Everybody brings out a ukulele around this price. But what many of them don't do is provide an instrument that feels like it's a step above a factory Chinese instrument. Now, you might think on the surface that that's me putting down other ukuleles to lift this one up, and that's not true at all. Snail and Flight in particular, 2 ukulele brands that I'll champion until the cows come home. Great cosmetic finish, but very much a factory-made Chinese ukulele, and they're at the higher end, but they do feel like a production line instrument. Now, what makes this Millar and the other Millars we're going to look at today slightly different is that being made in Taiwan and not China, it has a completely different feel to it. This was made in a completely different environment, and the tone woods that they use are distinctly special. You know, this mahogany looks fantastic, and the gloss finish is very, very light, very thin. It's still a kind of water-based modern finish, but the instrument on the whole feels very refined. It feels a step up, a bit like people describe Pono compared to Kala. And this is what made me most excited about these ukuleles. It was the fact that there is a viable alternative to Pono out there. These are slightly lighter in the hand than Pono, not quite as heavy in the build, and a bit brighter. Brighter is the wrong word. Slightly louder, slightly more with a more kind of treble focus, whereas the Ponos tend to be very mid-focused on the frequencies. You have a mahogany neck with a gloss finish too, with a rosewood fingerboard and bridge. These gold, let's focus on them a sec if we can. These gold open back tuners, really nice quality tuners, Millar's own tuners, with some super cool two-tone rope style wood binding around the front and the back. You get back binding, you know it's a good ukulele. That's my unofficial, that'd be the title of my second book. And then you've got this rope binding on the Millar logo as well. And logos are important, and the Millar logo is as cool as it gets in my opinion. The ukulele is cool, solid mahogany for around the £400 price point. A very vintage styled instrument inspired by the original Nunez ukuleles to look at, with a very modern, extremely clean factory finish. So let's give this one a play and see what you think. Okay folks, and we're back with the next ukulele today, which is the Millar TA-240G, which is an all-solid Acacia concert. Now the Acacia concert, look at the figuring on the Acacia. It's as good as anything else you'll ever see at this price, and up to £1,000. Really nice ukulele to look at, with a mahogany neck, gloss finish again. You still have the rosewood fingerboard and bridge. Now the Acacia model is conventionally more expensive than the mahogany, but there are less cosmetic features, which brings it back in line price wise with the mahogany version. So there's no front or back binding, just old-fashioned Acacia, giving it the Hawaiian vibe. There are closed back tuners on this model with the snakewood buttons, which reminds me of Kamaka and Big Island. Another brand actually that we should associate, the very similar feel to a Big Island ukulele, and many of the Big Island models are about 25% more expensive than the Millars. So I'm giving it as much praise as I can, because I really want you folks to make appointments and come down and try them. Or you know, if you trust my word and you're looking for a uke at this price, you can't really do better. There are alternatives out there, but these are super cool. A bone nut and saddle with a 35mm nut on all of the concerts and tenors. It just feels very refined, and I love the traditional sound it makes. So let's give it a play and see what you think. Okay folks, the next ukulele on the list today is the ukulele that I chose from the range, which is the SP-240W. The codes for the Millars are something that I'm quite happy to criticise. Their codes are almost impossible to follow. You can look at two codes and they can have one thing different and be a completely different shape, size, style and wood. So the codes are going to take some time to get used to, but the SP-240W means it's a spruce top, Acacia back and sides, all solid, with a rosewood fingerboard and bridge. You're still on the 35mm nut width for these concerts, with front rope binding and a front rope rosette. And the reason I'm attracted to this ukulele is because it reminds me of Imua ukuleles. Back in the day, talking 2015-16, we would sell a lot of Imua ukuleles. They were a brand we really dug. They're still going in kind of different shape and form nowadays, but for a factory kind of small run company, Imua were fantastic because they were offering Hawaii made instruments at the kind of £700-800 price point. Now, having owned one of these for a few weeks now, I can confirm that this is absolutely on a par with the spruce top Imua concert that I've owned in the past, which was exactly the same spec as this uke. Yeah, just these Millars, this is the model that brought me to the range. And I think anybody looking for a spruce top concert, you're really spoilt for choice in 2020, because I can think of off the top of my head, you've got Kala options, you've got Flight options, Ohana options, Pono options, less so in a concert, but they're still around and available occasionally, and they're all around that £200 to £400 price point. But what you want from a spruce top is something that's loud without being overly compressed and still retains quite a bit of bass, which is why I like them on concerts, because it allows you to fingerpick a concert without feeling a bit restrained or a bit weedy in the mix if you're recording or you're playing with other people. And this ukulele sums that up perfectly. The spruce, it's a two-piece spruce top on all of these, so if you look at it in some lights, there is usually a tiny little bit of variation, but actually in the flesh you don't see it. It's just when you shine a light on it. Yeah, gloss mahogany neck again, and this one has those gold Millar tuners with the black plastic buttons. Yeah, the SP-240W Spruce top, Acacia back and sides. Nothing here but love. Let's give it a play. It's like a piano. Good, sorry, I'll play now. Okay, so it's just us now. How many times have you folks rung us or emailed us and asked us to find something that had rosewood back and sides that wasn't silly money? It's a lot. It's a lot. It happens all the time. And finally, we have a ukulele here that can do that. We have the Millar TK-240W. Had to read the code off of a bit of paper on the floor there, sorry. This is the Millar TK-240W, which is a solid cedar top and solid rosewood back and sides ukulele. And across the 4 pieces that we've seen so far, they've all had very dark, very straight grained rosewood and very quirky looking cedar. The cedar almost has a kind of Port Orford quirkiness to it. It's not the straightest of cedar, which is good because cedar can look a tiny bit boring if it's got no grain pattern to it at all. You have the front rope binding like the SP-240 we've just looked at, and you have the front rosette with a rosewood fingerboard and bridge, the Millar head plate with those open back gold tuners. Now this is on the kind of more expensive side of the range because the rosewood is it's not material you see all the time. If you're wondering what the fuss is about, you know, cedar is it's a warm wood with lots of projection, and rosewood is a wood with lots of projection. So if you're a performer, you're somebody that strums and you want something with lots of attack that never breaks up and starts to sound distorted or overly compressed, rosewood is a really popular wood combination for that. It goes all the way back to the 1930s when you had the Martin D18 guitar and the Martin D28 guitars, and the D18 was more of the folk singer's guitar where you strummed chords and you needed accompaniment, but the rosewood back and sides D28 model would just shout at you. It would be loud and it would cut through if you were playing acoustically, which, let's face it, that's how most of us are going to play most of the time, and lots of us like to be heard. So this instrument, being a concert, doesn't throw itself across the room quite like the tenor size does, but what you get is a very nice, crisp, clear, confident note if you're playing single notes. If you're strumming, you get a very quick attack with a good sustain as well. So the TK-240W is the cedar and rosewood model. Let's give it a play and see what you think. Okay, now folks, on to the tenor ukuleles. This is the Millar TA-260G. The TA-260G is the bigger brother of the Acacia Concert 240G that we looked at before. It's all solid acacia. Look at the figuring on that acacia. Look at that, it's holographic. Really, really nicely cut. And we got two of these on the first delivery, and they're both spectacular. Check out the links in the description to these instruments. We're going to be serializing the Millars when we sell them, because they all look unique, and they've all got unique characteristics about why you would choose one over the other. So this one being all solid acacia with a rosewood fingerboard and bridge. You still have a 35mm nut. The neck shape on the tenors is quite interesting. It's very similar to Canalea, where you have a distinct U shape, where you have almost a flat point at the bottom of the U. So it's a nice slender nut with a slightly thicker neck depth, a bit like Pono, and really helps you find the notes and rest your thumb on the back of the neck as you play. You have closed back tuners with the snakewood buttons and a bone nut and saddle. Yeah, if you want acacia and you've been looking at the Pono ATD, this is a fantastic alternative to that. That might look a bit prettier and have less of a modern vibe to it and more of a traditional, almost Kamaka-like vibe. So Millar, the new kid on the block, definitely competing with Pono at every step. This is the TA-260G. Let's give it a play. Okay folks, on to the penultimate ukulele of the day today, something that feels really deluxe. This is the Millar SP-260W. It's the bigger brother of the concert model that I mentioned, the one that I purchased myself, but there are some additions to the spec that make this one stand out even more. Now the first one you can see already is that slotted headstock. Now that's a gorgeous slotted headstock with some antique style, well, they've been artificially aged tuners with white cream buttons, really nice. And it's hard to put this across in the video, but the slotted headstock has a really nice sheer curve down into the neck, so your hand ends at the end point of the neck without feeling like the slotted headstock's getting in the way. You have that solid spruce two-piece top again with the acacia back and sides, and in addition to that rope binding along the front, you have some really nice, hard to get on camera, but figured maple, curly maple, all the way around the front. So when you're looking down at the ukulele, you're seeing a really nice, striking and very opposite wood to the acacia, and visually it gives me, you know, a real sense of deluxe about the ukulele. It's the small things like that that make it, trust me. You still have a rosewood fingerboard and bridge, and yeah, this one is a fantastic alternative to the spruce top Ponos out there. Fantastic alternative to the Kala Comfort Edge with the cedar tops, and just sits really, really nicely against things like the Koaloa Opios as well. So yeah, also against the more expensive Big Islands, the Koaloa Opio ukuleles. It has that deluxe feel and sound and look, but at a more budget-friendly price than, say, a Hawaiian-made Canalea, Imua, Koaloa or Kamaka. So let's give this SP-260W a play and see what you think. Okay folks, the final ukulele we're going to talk about today is the TK-260W. Now this is a classical guitarist's wet dream. This ukulele is solid cedar with solid rosewood back and sides. It spanks, it's got so much attack, but also being a tenor size, it has the depth and the warmth. If you're a player that plays intricate pieces, much more intricate than I could ever show you guys here, this is a ukulele that will grow with you. Very, very similar actually to the Uluru ukuleles. Many of you will remember that we have featured in the past. Just a really refined machine here. You have the mahogany neck, again gloss finish with a rosewood fingerboard and bridge. The same slotted headstock we've just featured on the previous model with those antiqued tuners and the cream buttons. Now, I'd not noticed before, but the buttons are not just a white plastic button. They're actually a textured marble effect. Very cool. Wish I'd spotted that sooner. Yeah, really cool little feature there. And although it's a slightly wider slotted headstock, it feels comfortable. It doesn't obstruct your hand as you play up the neck. You also have the rope binding and the curly maple here, which looks arguably even cooler against the rosewood back and sides when you look down. It's a deluxe ukulele and you're worth it. If you want something with a cedar top, you want something rosewood, I would struggle to recommend a better ukulele than this without spending twice as much money. I have absolutely no qualms about gushing with praise for this brand because I've seen nearly 20 of their instruments in the past month now, and they've all been knockouts. So this is the final uke of the day today. Final one to have a look at. It's the TK-260W. Let's give it a play and see what you think. Okay folks, so we've looked at 7 Millar ukuleles this morning, but what did you guys think? It's so tough for me trying to toe the line sometimes doing these ukulele videos because a lot of people must watch them and think that I just praise everything, and there's an element of truth in that, but the reality is if something's crap or we don't think something's good enough, we just don't stock it. If we like a brand, if we like a ukulele company and their ethos and their product, then we do stock it and we really invest the time into showing people all about them. Now, Matt at World of Ukes has had Millars in stock for about a month, and I noticed when I did a social media post about this video yesterday, that 2 or 3 of the owners of those Millars came forward and said, I can just confirm these ukes are fantastic. And as a Millar owner myself, I feel excited to show them off to new people and get them in new people's hands. But yeah, I hope you like them too. It's nice to see mahogany, acacia, spruce and cedar options in various sizes too, and I look forward to expanding the range in the future. If you have any questions, please do get in touch. You can call us in store on 01202 430 820, or you can email me at alex@ukulele.co.uk. Everything that we've tried, we've been impressed with. Gunsy summed it up best. We were talking about them yesterday and he said that they most reminded him of Kamaka. If you think of Ko Aloha and you think of how the Opio range is the Thailand made version of the Ko Aloas, then these Millars feel like the Taiwanese made version of the Kamakas. There's no association between the two brands, but it's just the biggest compliment I can pay these ukes. if you look, I've rambled on a lot today. I've not had my coffee. Can you tell? Have a great week, everybody. Speak to you again.